Hey, Bruce here, the 5-Minute Handyman. I'm staining a door today. I wanted to show you how to do that. I'll be using a couple of different products on this door. I'm going to do a Minwax pre-stain. This helps it, when the stain goes on, it helps it to be uniform and not blotchy, especially on softwoods. And then we're going to use this Old Masters wiping stain, and I'll show you how to do that and tell you how long you need to let it sit on the wood to get a nice rich color. So let's get right to it. Love to have you subscribe to my channel so you can see all kinds of handyman stuff and renovation activity. So let me show you the hardware right now. So we are going to put stain on this door and get this right in the frame for you to see. Now I've got one glove here, and all I need is one glove because I'm going to put that on the hand that I'm going to use these wiping cloths with, and this is from Ace Hardware, and I'll use one piece of cloth for the pre-stain, and I will use one cloth for the actual stain. Okay, so let's put this off to the side for now, and I have a piece of plastic down here so that when I open the can and I stir it, I don't have any chance of getting any of that on the surface of the door, because then we'll end up having different shades of color. All right, so we opened up this pre-stain, and the pre-stain is a clear liquid, and I'm going to use this to just give this a stir, make sure everything is mixed up nicely. And the can says that to put it on with a rag and then let it sit for 5 to 15 minutes before you make sure that there's no puddling or that you wipe it off. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I will take this can and put it here. Move this out of the way. And so now what I'll do is I'll start at one end, and I want to keep a nice wet edge, so I'm going to get my piece of cloth soaked. All right, I want to go in the direction of the grain on the wood. It's always a good idea to do that. Whether you're sanding or whether you're putting on finish, paint, or stain, it's always a good idea to make sure you're going with the grain. And make sure we get it nice and tight into these grooves, the detail here on the door. Okay. So this is not a critical kind of a thing where we have to be very, very careful about how even we get this put on. It just needs to be on there thick enough so that it's going to soak in. And then when we put our stain on, I'll show you how that goes. Again, always want to go with the grain. Okay, I think I'm happy with how that looks. Okay. All right, so I am going to set my timer and let this set on here for about 10 minutes. And then we're going to come back and I'll show you how to put the stain on. Okay, so we have this dry. This has sat for 10 minutes. And let me take a look at it and see the light. I see there's a little bit of area over here that's a little bit wet yet. So what I'm going to do, I don't know if you could see it through the camera, but I'm just going to take and wipe this down to pull up any of the liquid that hasn't fully absorbed in. So let's give that a little bit of a wipe, and then we should be in good shape. We got a little of it, a little bit came off of here, so that's good. Okay, so now let's get the stain opened up. We'll give it a quick mix. And this particular stain says it takes up to 10 hours to dry. And so I did the other side of this door. You can see the color here. Did that the other day, and now we're coming back to finish this up. And so when you're mixing stain, when I first mixed this can, there was a lot of solids that were on the bottom because it was sitting on the shelf for a while. And so when you mix it, and all those solids start coming up into the liquid, if you take out your stirring stick, and you can do this with paint as well, if you see uneven surface on the stick here, if you see lines of solids dripping down, then you know you're not mixed well enough yet. And so this is nice and uniform. So what I will do is I will wipe it off on the edge of the can. Put that down. And I've got my wiping cloth here. And let's see if we get this back in center frame. Okay. So the other thing I've done is I set my watch for timer. And so I am going to start this so I could tell you how long it takes for the stain to soak in to get a nice rich color. Okay, and so the whole deal with stain is you want to put it on thick, and then it's going to sit there so that it can soak in, and then you're going to wipe it off. So if you put it on and then immediately wiped it off, it would be very, very light. And so what we want to do is we want to make it darker. And again, I want to go with the grain, so I'm going to be careful to not go too far over the edge here. Not as critical with stain, but still want to try to go with the grain all the time. Now when I come up to an edge, I don't want to wipe it this way because it's going to pull it off the bottom of the cloth. So I always want to go off of the edge like that. And same thing with a paintbrush. If you go up like this with the paintbrush, it's going to wipe all of the paint on the edge of your object that you're trying to paint. Okay. This is looking good. Okay, and so you see how I have a lot of stain on here, and that's exactly the way I want to do it, is I want to have enough for it to soak in. And then when I wipe it off, I'll have a nice uniform coating. All right, so we have this coated, and we are 6 minutes in. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a section, the first section that I started, which is 6 minutes. This section over here is 0 because I just finished that. Okay, so I'm going to just take and see what kind of color we have. And so I just do a little bit of a wipe. I want to get it a little bit darker than that. So let's put the stain back on it. All right, so now we're at 10 minutes, and so what I want to do is try this again, and just give it a nice light wipe. I like that much better. Okay. And so what I'll do is I'll just go through and wipe this off. Now, I don't want to just rush through and wipe everything at the same, as quick as I can, because it took me 6 minutes to do the full door, so I want to try to make it about the same amount of time by the time I get down to that end. All right, so I want to remember how I did this, what order I did, so I can wipe off in the same manner. Now, if my rag gets too filled up with stain, I can go ahead and use a different rag, but I now need to be careful about how I handle that. So in other words, I don't want to wipe it too hard because it's going to pull too much of the stain off. So I'm right at 6 minutes, which is what it took me to put the stain on. So I know that this wood had the same amount of time as that part of the wood with the stain on it. And so what we're going to do is just let that dry fully before we go ahead and move it around. And that's the way we do it. Glad you're able to watch this, and again, I'd like to have you subscribe to my channel so you can see all kinds of handyman activities and different renovation things. So thank you for watching.